7 Craziest Cases of Mind Control in Nature. Hairworms. Scientifically known as Spinochordode stellenii, these parasites develop and grows inside orthopteran insects, grasshoppers, crickets, etc. They are known to eat the internal organs of their host until there is nothing left but the head, legs and outer shell. The worm can grow to be much bigger than the grasshopper, about 3 to 4 times bigger. Once the parasite is grown, it has complete control over the host's body and can manipulate it. The hairworm brainwashes its victim to dive into a large body of water, which is something the grasshopper would never do on its own. Once in the water, the worm emerges and swims away to live out the rest of its life, leaving the host to drown. For years, scientists have researched how and why these hairworms are able to brainwash the grasshoppers to basically commit self-harm. Glyptopanthes wasp. Glyptopanthes is a genus of parasitoid wasps that turns caterpillars into zombies. A female Glyptopanthes will lay her eggs, about 80 at a time, inside a young caterpillar host. After hatching, the larvae will feed on the caterpillar's succulent juicy insides until they are fully developed. While growing, they slowly start taking over the caterpillar's mind to turn it into a bodyguard that protects them. Once the larvae are matured, it emerges from the body, attaches themselves to a branch or leaf, and form a cocoon. However, 1 or 2 larvae remain behind and manipulate the caterpillar to take up a position near the cocoons. When the cocoons are disturbed, the caterpillar will thrash around fiercely, and the pupae effectively have themselves a zombie caterpillar bodyguard. The caterpillar remains this way until the cocoons hatch, at which point it passes away. Euhaplorchus californiensis. Native to Southern California, this parasite lives on the gut of shorebirds and produces eggs. These eggs are released through shorebirds' feces into the water, out of which, some will develop into larvae once swallowed up by snails. Once these larvae are mature enough, they leave the snail and swim out, eventually finding a killifish, and entering its brain through gills. Once in the brain, mind control begins. The parasite will cause the fish to come to the surface, swim in circles, and display its silvery underside in an attempt to attract a bird's attention. This behavior makes the infected fish 30 times more likely to be caught and consumed by a bird. Once the fish is eaten, the parasite lives in the bird's gut, and the process can begin anew. Acacia trees. The relationship between acacia trees and ants is seen as one of the most consistent and remarkable alliances in nature. Normally, ants act as bodyguards for acacia trees, defending them not only from weeds but also from animals, in exchange for accommodation and food. However, there is much more than what meets the eye. One part takes more out of the deal than the other. According to a study, the food the ants eat from the acacia trees actually contains a chemical which will change their brain chemicals and put the ant into a defensive mode, making them more likely to protect the acacia trees. Also, the enzyme found in the plant food takes away their ability to digest, and instead, offers them pre-digested food, making the ant hooked to the tree. Pharid flies. The genus Pseudactian from South America loves ants, as they reproduce by laying eggs in the thorax of the ant. The female fly strikes the ant to insert anywhere from 100 to 300 of its eggs into its thorax. Once the eggs are hatched, the larvae migrate to the head and control their mind. Gradually, the larvae will completely devour the ant's brain, causing it to do nothing but wander aimlessly for approximately 2 weeks. After about 2 to 4 weeks, they cause the ant's head to fall off by releasing an enzyme that dissolves the membrane attaching the ant's head to its body. The larva then begins to pupate inside the head, and when it's ready, a new ant-decapitating fly crawls out of the ant's mouth. This is why they are also called ant-decapitating flies. Saculina. These parasites grow inside the crab and emerge as a sac on the underside of the crab's rear thorax, where the crab's eggs would be incubated. The more the saccula grows, the more it takes control of the crab. Soon, the crab no longer grows, molts, digests, or reproduces. This is when the crab stops taking care of itself and starts taking care of the parasite. Saccula sterilizes the male crab and changes the bodily layout of the crab to resemble that of a female crab by widening and flattening its abdomen, among other things. Once the eggs are ready to be released from the crab jumps up and down in the water, releasing the eggs, and then stirs the eggs around with its claws so the eggs can find their host.